I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for coming over and being able to chat with me a little bit.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
I just want to introduce everyone to Bruce Peragallo, our former principal of Metuchen High School, newly retired.
Right, yes.
How's retirement?
So far I'm enjoying it. I haven't really gotten used to it just yet, but I think once September rolls around, it'll feel pretty good.
So you've had like only about a month of retirement?
Yeah, I officially retired on the last part of July. My last day in school was July 30th, and my official retirement date was August 1st. So
okay.
I've really only been retired about 3 weeks, and people tell me you need about 2 or 3 months to really get the feel for it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good for you. And I hear that your last day on campus at Metuchen High School, your last day was also a big day for you and your family.
Fortunately, my daughter gave birth to my granddaughter, Kaylee Florence Flynn, and Kaylee was 4 pounds 7 ounces, but she's a whopping 5'5" now, so she's growing, and it's great having her in our life.
Oh, that's so nice. That's such a great day. So it was like a really momentous
It was very
day.
memorable, that's for sure.
That's for sure. So I wanted to just bring you on. You're newly retired, very newly, and you were our principal at Metuchen High School, where through COVID, which was a trying time for everyone, but you handled it so well, and I know it was probably really difficult. Is there anything you want to share with us about how you had to, triumph through that experience?
COVID is very difficult, and it was a very difficult platform for not only our students but our teachers, and I really commend our teachers, and not only at the high school but at all of our schools, for the job that they did in pivoting from a classroom environment in March of 19 to 3 days later going to a remote environment, and that's difficult. It's difficult doing it over a long period of time, never mind having to do it over a 3-day period. And I thought that our teachers did a tremendous job, and I thought our kids adapted extremely well. I also have to commend our Board of Education for having the technology needed in order to do it and to make the transition that we did. My last year seemed like 5 years rolled into one, because everything was new. Everything that we tried had never been tested before, so it was a very difficult year. But again, I think our students were very flexible. They did what we asked of them to do. And I think the community really rallied around our school and our education system. And I think we really had a very good year. I mean, we were one of the few schools in Middlesex County that stayed open throughout the whole year.
Yes, you had it open to I actually can't remember specifically, but you had the whole school was open, and then you had certain children able to come in person if needed at a certain point.
Right.
And then opened even to more went at another point, at like another pass point.
Right. We started as a hybrid model where we had a group A and a group B, and each week was designated for that group. And then as the school year went on, we opened it up to some of our special needs students to come back on a full-time basis. And then we basically in the spring opened up the school to everybody, that all of our students could come back, and a number of them did, although a number of them did stay home. But I understand both sides of the coin there, and I commend all of our students that finished strong and had the kind of year that they had. It was difficult. It was difficult at every level. I think one of the things that helped us a lot, though, was our athletic program continued to function.
Yep.
And so did our music program continue to function, and our co-curricular clubs took place as well. And I really believe that our students, did well and really needed that socialization around the athletics, the music, and our club program.
Absolutely. I think it's really commendable to how you had Metuchen High School open and operating at such a high level, probably at a higher level than many colleges, to be honest, most colleges. It was just a really big undertaking, but my son just couldn't wait to finish his class and get on the field and practice with his teammates. It was such a great socialization for him, or like the AV kids or the music kids, like at least they had some sort of socialization to really help, because it was a difficult time. And I know it's tough to be online learning for all those hours, but it's amazing how we had the school open and so many activities.
But I think you hit it right on the head. I think the socialization piece was so important for our kids. The isolation that they felt, sitting by themselves, on Zoom lessons and so on and so forth, as engaging as teachers tried to make them to be, what I think really brought the school together. And I think the turning point for last year was the ability of our kids to get involved in those team sports, to be involved with the band. Our band competed at virtual events, and the kids just loved seeing one another, and they needed that. And when we started to increase our numbers in the building, it was just great to stand in the hallway and watch the kids interact with each other as they passed from one class to the other. So that socialization became extremely important, and it's probably one of the lessons I learned about all this was the fact that that school is much more than just curriculums, textbooks, tests, and quizzes. It's more about the socialization, and I think as you move up into the high school, it becomes even more important.
Absolutely.
And it was very, very evident to me that was probably the greatest gift that we gave to our students, the ability for them to socialize during a very difficult time.
Absolutely. It was really helpful to my children. So my daughter graduated, and she graduated the June right after COVID started. So gosh, that was like June 2019, and that was tough. But then the whole entire last year was even just completely, we thought that was so tough, but the reality was it was just half of the year, the academic year. And then all last year, hybrid and different children with different needs, having different types of experiences. But the ability for the older kids especially, to have some type of socialization, it was really helpful. And I'm so proud to be a part of this community, and it was so wonderful to see you lead. It was tough, no one has ever experienced this before. And our Board of Ed and you with them, and just really were amazing. It's different on every level for every age child, of course, but high school's challenging,
It is, and there are an awful lot of events, and I really felt bad for the class of 2019 and 2020, because there are an awful lot of events that unfortunately they weren't able to be involved with. But I want to say that I think we did the best job that we could under the circumstances.
Yes.
And I also want to commend the group of parents that stepped up to be sure that seniors in this past school year had many opportunities that they felt might be lost because of the pandemic. So the community really came together to support the schools, and it was very, very evident. And I think it's just an incredible time in history for all of us.
Yeah,
and,
sure is.
But I think there was an awful lot that was learned, and we'll continue to learn about all of this and about ourselves.
Well, thank you for walking us through those times as our principal. It was definitely, I'm sure, not easy, But and what an experience to have, you know, your retirement planned, and I'm not sure if it was delayed or not, but I can imagine you could retire in the middle of it.
It's funny you said that, because I was actually going to go out a year ago.
Yeah.
And I just felt I couldn't do that.
You couldn't.
I couldn't leave our kids. I couldn't leave the faculty.
Transition. How can you transition?
There was just too much going on, and I didn't think it would be fair to somebody new coming in to try to deal with all the nuances of the high school, as well as on top of that a pandemic. So I was happy I made the decision to stay 1 additional year, and I like to think it paid off.
I kind of had a feeling you did, and I appreciate that. That shows who you are and what you're made of. You know, you're like, I'm not going out, I'm here. Which you're a part of the community. You lived in this town for so many years,
right.
And you raised your children here in Metuchen. You have 2 grown adults now.
Right. My daughter Lindsay graduated in 2009, and
wow.
Lindsay is now a pediatrician.
And how'd that all happen quickly? She has a baby and she's a pediatrician. That's amazing. You must be so proud.
And my son Brian graduated in 2013.
Okay.
And Brian graduated from Penn State with a degree in supply chain, and he works for a company in New York called KPMG. And I don't know what he does, but he's doing well, so I'll leave it.
You don't understand like what he does.
And I'm not
He's
sure
doing well.
Right. So,
well, good. 2 great kids through the school. So how is that like when they were? How many years were you the principal at Metuchen High School? And were your kids there when you were the principal?
My daughter, when I got there, my daughter was a junior, and I was the assistant principal at that time. And then I went on from assistant principal to become the acting principal, and I was appointed that March, and I'm not exactly sure the date, but so she had me as primarily an assistant principal at the time. My son, fortunately or unfortunately for him, I was a principal.
Yeah.
And, but it was great. It was like take your kid to work every day.
Yeah.
So it was terrific that way. But you know, I loved being in the building with them, and especially their friends, because I learned a lot about the building, and through them it was a different perspective, and also through their friends' eyes and thoughts, and you know, I changed some of the things that I did based on what I was hearing from them. Okay. And I like to think it was changed for the better. Yeah. I've always tried to create a family type of environment at the high school. I just always want to treat people the way I'd want to be treated, and I just kind of lived by that rule at the high school during my 12 years that I've been there. And I think it works. I think we have a very positive culture at the high school. I think we have a family kind of environment at the high school. And I like to think that when our kids leave Metuchen High School, they're prepared, and they're ready to take on whatever challenges they're going to be faced with. And most of our students have done extremely well, and continue to do extremely well. And I think that's probably what I'm most proud of as I look back on the 12 years at Metuchen as the high school principal. Yeah,
so many kids have gone and have had successful careers, successful academic college experiences, and really giving them a good opportunity to succeed with the rest of their life, giving them this foundation. It's such a big thing, and we've had positive experiences at the high school. My kids actually think it's their favorite school they will have these different reasons, but it's nice to hear them.
Good to hear.
They're finally getting out an opinion, and they're like, oh, finally. I think it just has a lot to do with they have choices, and they can get more involved in projects and in groups with like-minded people, so of all ages. So that's what high school is, and we have so many groups and so many different activities. So I just, I really always wanted to just say thank you for that. My son will miss you as a senior graduating this year, and my younger son will miss you as he's an incoming freshman. But we've had great experiences. My daughter graduated while you were the principal, and it's always just been so fantastic. We have a great community here, and now we just have this. We've always had this fabulous high school in my experience, and transitioning into new hands, but you've laid the land for success.
And it was important that I wanted to create a smooth transition for Mr. Borowski as he moves in now to the principal seat, and I hope that I've done that for him. But you raised something before, Lyndon, I think is so important, and it's just it's an awesome community, and the community really has rallied around the educators as well as the education system here. And one of the other goals that I always wanted to bring to the high school is I wanted the community to see what the high school is all about. I literally wanted to knock down the walls to the high school and allow the community in. And having said that, though, it needed to work the other way. Our students need to get out to the community to learn how important they are to this community and to be successful in the community. So that to me was always extremely important, that our students felt a part of the community and the community felt a part of the high school. And and I like to think we've accomplished that, and I would hope that same thought would continue over the next number of years at the high school. We have an awful lot of teachers that are members of the community.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people live here.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. And ironically, I actually taught at the high school back between '85 and '89. So a number of the students that are in the high school now, I actually taught their parents.
Really?
And when they were in school. And so it's just, I think it's unique that there are so many people that come back to this community to raise their children. And I think that speaks volumes about just the kind of community that it is and the makeup of the community. So it was always fun when somebody would come in and say, I had you in
oh my
phys
gosh.
ed back
Do you
in
remember?
19.
Did you remember them?
I did. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So let me ask you 5 of your favorite memories of either being a principal or living in town with your kids. What if you had to pick like 5? You don't have to say the top, the second top, and the third, but what are like the 5 random favorites?
And I can tell you what my number 1 is always is graduation day.
Mm-hmm.
I love graduation. I love the pomp and circumstance behind it. And I just like the way we did it on the football field. I particularly liked it the last 2 years when we also invited the parents to come down and to sit with their children on the field. I thought it was different. It was unique, and I thought it was very meaningful more than anything. So graduation was always something that I always enjoyed, I think even to this day that'll be
that's your number one of your number ones. Memories. Number one. Yeah, that was different with the parent. I experienced that, the parent with your child. But because of COVID, it was so restricted that was really creative, and that was we were so restrictive, but it gave us the social distancing. We had to wear masks, and we had the band's recorded music playing. Right. It was just so creative to bring it to its fullest potential with all those restrictions. Great, we were so happy that we had that experience.
It also allowed us to put more people in the stands, which worked out well.
Yes.
I enjoyed some of the traveling that I did with some of our students to Spain and to Italy, and what I enjoyed most about that was to see their independence, to see that what they're learning in the classroom, they're actually able to implement and be useful. So, because I remember my world language days, still can't remember much about it, but it was so nice to be able to see our kids, and I'm going to say perform in that culture and to do as well as they did. And that was also true. I had some opportunities to travel with the band on their Disney trips.
Oh, nice.
To see how well that our kids did, how well they performed, and how prepared they were.
They're mature. Yeah, they're mature kids.
Very mature, yeah.
They handle themselves well.
And really how well behaved that they are. I think one of the other fond memories that I have of my time at the high school is just the interaction between our students and our teachers, and that our students felt comfortable talking to our teachers, and it might not just be about the content area that the teacher might be teaching, but they created some, I think, strong friendships with teacher leaders and teacher kind of mentors that I think were so helpful to them, and even to this day, a number of them still come back and seek out that teacher.
Say hello. And
just to say hello and to give updates and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they're really molding these people, these young people into adults.
And over the course of the last few years, we've had a self-contained class for our students with disabilities, and that's been very rewarding to see how well our kids have done in that environment. And then within the last 2 years, we started an 18 to 21-year-old program. So I like where we're going with that, and
that's great.
Again, just to see the strides that some of our students are making in those programs have been very rewarding.
Introducing them to the work life and preparing them to.
Right.
So, what are two more of your favorites? Do you like?
I just think the collegiality with the staff. It's a very good staff. It really is. We have.
You're lucky. You were lucky for so many years.
We have a mix of. I'm going to say younger, more seasoned staff, and just the way that they work together, and that the goal is always to do what's best for the child. And I think that's always been something that's been extremely important to us. And I guess lastly, although I didn't pay as much attention to it as maybe I should have, but just the different rankings that our school had over the years. I mean, we always were in the top 100, a number of times within the top 50 of some of the best schools in New Jersey. And although I didn't pay attention to it in terms of doing anything to necessarily make that happen, it just showed that when you create a culture that's positive and people want to be there, good things happen.
And I think it's commendable that you didn't obsess on the rank, because there certainly are schools that do obsess on where they're ranking, and then their motivation is a little bit misplaced, in my opinion.
And I just felt that, if we're doing all the right things, that ranking is going to come, and it has.
It definitely has. I mean, Metuchen is very sought after community to live and thrive and raise children here, and the school district is a very big part of that. And again, I've seen other school districts just kind of on peripherally, just seeing and hearing what's going on, and they're very motivated by their rank, and it's like you did the right thing, you made the right decisions for the right reasons, and that's why the rank kind of follows suit. It's a great example of how you should lead, and how you should instill culture, and how you should just have this great educational environment with all the staff. It's just not all about rank, because some crazy stuff will go on if you're too obsessed with it.
So I guess if I had to pick 5, those are my 5. But I also need to thank the Board of Education, as well as Dr. Caputo for his leadership over the last number of years, and I also want to thank and commend Terry Sinatra when she was here
Yes.
as a superintendent. And to Terry's credit, she appointed me to this position. So I've learned a lot from Terry as well as from Vince over my time here.
Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time and appreciate your years of service.
Thank you.
And we're just such a better community, a better high school, better kids because of your time and your tireless efforts. And I appreciate you not leaving and bailing on us in our time of need. I got the sense like you're not going anywhere until you can, and I really do thank you for that. With kids in the district, in the high school, experiencing it, it was meaningful and helpful.
Well, I think that was important. I think the other thing that was important to Lynn was that the kids needed to see me in the community. I try to get involved in a lot of different community events.
You see it at the games.
Right. I mean, I was actually coaching T-ball up until June of this year. So.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed doing that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I actually coached T-ball for I guess 5 years.
I didn't know that. That's great.
So yeah, it was fun. I mean, I'm not going to see those kids for quite a number of years now, but needless to say, it was just being a part of the community. I thought was important because, again, we talk about community service, and if I'm going to preach that, I need to do it as well.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
So
Yes, we'll come by the games, even though you're retired. Come by and see the football team and the soccer team and the girls field hockey and everything. And we'd love to see you still come by and say hello.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
We'll
you
shake hands. I'll be allowed to shake hands.
Thank
We're
you.
both vaccinated.
Thank you for your time. So, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.